So what can we talk about? Loss of love when we get to Shavous. Huh? What shaila is there loss of love for Shavous? So the shaila is as follows. There's a Ramah, not a Ramah, a Magen Avram in the beginning of Siman Tov Tzadik Daled, where the Magen Avram brings a question that many Mefarshim speak about, that the Gemara says that Moshe Rabbeinu was Mosif one day Midaitai before Matan Torah. Matan Torah was delayed for a day, Moshe Rabbeinu added a day. So, which means that instead of the Torah being given on the 50th day from after Sfiras Ha'omer, it was actually given on the 51st day. And you see it also in the Cheshbon, from when Yidden went out of Mitzrayim. The day the Yidden left Mitzrayim was on a Thursday. Kul Alma. Thursday they left Mitzrayim. The day that the Torah was given, the Gemara says, L'kul Alma b'Shavos nitna Torah. So that's on the 51st day from when they left Mitzrayim, not the 50th day. It would have been on Friday otherwise. It was on the 51st day. If that's the case, so the shaila is, today we celebrate Shavuos on the 50th day of Sfiras Ha'omer, on Vav 7, which is the 50th day. And also, b'negei to the date on the calendar, when the Torah was given, according to this opinion, which is Rabbi Yossi in the Gemara and Shavous, the Torah was given on Zayin 7, not on Vav 7. The Poyel, we celebrate Shavuos, the Yom Tov Rishon of Shavuos, the Yom Tov Deiraisa, the first day of Shavuos, is on Vav 7. So how, the Magen Avram asks, how could you say Zman Matan Torah Seinu on the first day of Shavuos if it's not the day that Tevish gave the Torah B'chlal? This is a famous shaila which a lot of Achrenim speak about. There's a truth from the Divrei Nehemiah about this. There's a big arichas about this inyan. But there's one interesting vart that the Magen Avram there quotes b'shem the Rama Mipana. Rama Mipana was a Mekubal Beker. And he says a very interesting thing. That the fact that Bizman HaGolus we celebrate Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golus is because that's taka the day that the Torah was given. The Torah was given on Zayin 7, so the Eibush is being merames to Yidden, but you're going to celebrate Zayin 7 also. Even if L'chatchila, when Yidden were in Eretz Yisrael, they didn't celebrate Zayin 7, only the first day of Yom Tov, which is Vav 7, but the Eibush gave the Torah the next day, because eventually in the future, Yidden will celebrate the next day. Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golus. Then he adds, that's one word he says. Then he adds another word. We see that the fact that the Eibush delayed the Matan Torah for one day was Moshe Rabbeinu's decision. Moshe Rabbeinu Midaitai. He didn't ask the Eibush. Well, he felt that Yidden weren't ready, whatever it is. Moshe Rabbeinu was Mosef Yoim Echad Midaitai. So the point is that the idea of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golus is like the inyan of Hosef Moshe Yoim Echad Midaitai. Moshe Rabbeinu was Mosef for one day, even though the Torah was supposed to be given on the 50th day of Sfira. The same thing also was Man HaGolos, the Chachamim were Mosef a day for Yom Tov. The evidence is that this inyan, that there's a Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius, is not only B'zman HaGolus. It's also B'zman Shabbos HaMikdash Kayim. It means in Chutz Laret, not in Golus. Places that were far from Eretz Yisrael, and they didn't know what the kviyas of the Rosh Chodesh was, and the Eidim that came to Eretz Yisrael. They couldn't get the message out too far, so therefore they had to make a Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius, but it's not really necessarily in Zman HaGolus. It refers to those places that are far from Eretz Yisrael. Atkan, more or less, is what the Rama Mipana says, which is a very interesting vart, that the emes, in a way, when the whole celebration of Shavuos, Zman Matan Torah Seinu, the second day of Shavuos, is in a way choshever than the first day of Shavuos. That's actually the day that David gave the Torah. So there's a Chsam Sofer. The Chsam Sofer Masechta Beya says, on the first day, that's still a good question. That's not famfid according to this. The Magen Avram talks about it, and the others talk about it. That's still not famfid according to this. Right, and Chanami. In the Torah, Bepashtus Shavuos, it doesn't say any remez that Shavuos is connected to Zman Torah Seinu. It just says, Shavous, and then you bring and Chanami. But in the Nusach HaTfilah, the question is, the Nusach HaTfilah that Anshe Knesset Agdela were Mesakin, they were Mesakin to say Zman Torah Seinu the first day as well. That's the question. The question is not what it says in the Pasuk. So the Chassam Sofer says that this inyan of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius is not an inyan which is only for because in the Zman HaGolos, when they don't know how to be, when they don't know the Zman of Rosh Chodesh or far from Eretz Yisrael. The Chassam Sofer says that the same thing will also be La'asad Lavai. Zman HaGolos now, we're not Mechadish the Chodesh, we're not Mekadesh the Chodesh based on Eidim. Today it's all done with the Cheshbon that there is when the Meilad is, and there's the months that are Chasedim, the months that are Malayim. It's not done with Eidim. Zman Shabbos and Mikdash Kayim, when Moshiach is going to come, so then we're going to be Kevei again the Chodesh with Eidim. So the Chassam Sofer says that then there'll also be Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golus. Those places that won't be close enough to know what the day of Yom Tov is, there'll also be Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golus. Then the Chassam Sofer says another Chiddush. B'chlal, we know that L'asad Lavai. One second, we'll get to these days. Wait, okay, we're getting to that. But before, first, let me finish what the Chassam Sofer says. He says an interesting thing that it says in Parshas Shoftim, Ki yarchav Hashem alekecha es gvulcha, that L'asad Lavai, the Eibush is going to broaden your borders to include the other three lands of Keni, Kniti, and Kadmoni, which are going to be further out. And he says that that includes also certain islands in the Mediterranean that are also going to be considered to be part of Eretz Yisrael. He says those places are going to be part of Eretz Yisrael, but they're not close enough to find out what the kviyas of the Chodesh is, and they're going to have to celebrate Yom Tov Sheni, not even though they're Eretz Yisrael, even though they're not a Chutz La'aretz B'chlal. So he says, you see, the inyan of Yom Tov Sheni is not Shayach Dafka to Chutz La'aretz. It's not only Bizman HaGolus, it's even going to be La'asad Lavai, and even when you get to places that La'asad Lavai will be considered to be Eretz Yisrael, but are going to be further out, and they can't find out when Rosh Chodesh is. The idea of Yom Tov Sheni is not necessarily a takana for Chutz La'aretz per se. It's for places that are too far for the Edom to reach there on time, to say when the Yom Tov is. The Chassam Sofer says that Rosh Hashanah was even in Eretz Yisrael itself, right? Because even got Mamish, right? That the idea is if there's a suffix, wherever the suffix applies. The Chassam Sofer brings this Ramami Panu as well, and he says that this is the way the Chassam Sofer puts it, that it doesn't make sense that the Eibishter is giving Torah on Zayin Sivin, and the Ramami Panu says it's all sort of, so to speak, pre-planned that the Yidden, Bizman HaGolos or in Chutz La'aretz, are going to be celebrating the second day of Yom Tov. That's what the Eibishter is doing by giving Matan Torah on that day, and the Yidden are going to celebrate it Dafka in Chutz La'aretz. So the Chassam Sofer says, no, it's much more than that, because the Eibishter is also hinting to what's going to be when Mashiach comes. That even by the Gula Asida, even in places which are in Eretz Yisrael, they will also celebrate a second day of Yom Tov. Not only Bizman HaGolus, it's going also on the Zman HaGeula as well. Okay, that's the Chassam Sofer in his times. How many years ago did the Chassam Sofer live? Let's say about 250 years ago. But now the question is, there's many Achronim that speak about this over the past 100 years. There's Shavous that speak about this question, that today that the whole issue of getting the message out, that it's a new month is not an issue. You can spread the message even already 100 years ago when the telegrams came out. When was whatever? It's even more than 100 years ago when the first telegram was sent. I'm not sure the exact date if anyone here knows. Once you're able to get the message out to the entire world, so then the chayre, the whole entire thing doesn't apply anymore.
Even before that, they used to light the fires. It's just
okay, but even that they didn't rely on it because the Steichen came and right, so they didn't rely on it. Yeah. So they can go back to that.
Theory. So why was some Sofer even saying?
Right. Okay. So many Achrayim, there are many Shavous Svarim that say that today that you can be Mediyah the entire world, but Rega commemorate when the Kiddush HaChedesh is. So L'asad Lavai, there's the whole musig of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golis is not Shayach B'chlal.
Right.
So it says many Achrayim.
Literally in 3 minutes, everybody could know.
Less.
Technically less, but I'm saying, you didn't have to check your phone.
Pashas.
Every 3 minutes, people check their phone.
That's where it's holding now. And in another few years, it's going to be, it's going to buzz in your head. It's going to be a chip in your head that's going to let you know.
That's right.
You won't even have to check.
It was May 22nd, 1844.
1844. Okay, so it's 150 years ago.
75.
More, yeah.
40 for 100 cents.
Yeah. Hakopanim, so yeah, the idea of spreading the word of Rosh Chodesh, it doesn't matter how. I mean, you can spread it, if you can spread it through the Masin Masuais with the fires, so for sure technology is good enough to spread the word. But it's not such a pashta thing if this opinion in the Rishonim is accepted. I mean, in Achreinim that say this, that because you could spread the word today, it's not so clear if this is ongenommen. There's a few times that the Rebbe spoke about this Indian. There was once in a Fabrengen of Simchas Torah Tavshin Mem Tes, and once in a Fabrengen of Shavous Bereishis Tavshin Nun Aleph. Simchas Torah Tavshin Mem Tes, the Rebbe said that it's possible that even La'asad Lavai there'll be Yontif Sheni Shel Goliath. Even though L'chayre, La'asad Lavai, it won't be necessary, because then everyone will know and it'll be clear, and there won't be any issue of finding out when the Chodesh is. But Afal Pikein, the Rebbe said that it's mistaver, that because this is something that the Klal Yisrael was nayik so many deiris, so to say that La'asad Lavai, this inyan will be bottle, the Rebbe says it's not mistaver. There are certain milas that Yontif Sheni Shel Goliath has. It's another day of Yontif, there's another day of Kedusha. Chlal, it's Mavur and Chassidus, a lot of different milas that the Yontif Sheni has, that you're being Maila a day, which is Be'etzem Yom Choyel, into Kedusha. The Rebbe said that it's not mistaver. And the Rebbe gave an example from Shavous itself. The whole concept that Shavous is 2 days is something which is a pella. Why should Shavous be 2 days? Shavous is not a Yontif that is dependent on any date. The whole idea of having a 2-day yontiv is because you don't know what the date of the yontiv is. So yeah, therefore you have to, if you can't bring the message over what the date is, so you have to have 2 days. Shavuz though, in the Torah, it never says the date of the yontiv. All it says is that Shavuz is the 50th day. But by the time 50 days comes around, everybody knows when the date of Pesach was. For sure, even then. So, why is Shavuz 2 days? So the Gemara says, not to distinguish between one yontif and another yontif. If you're going to make Pesach and Sukkot 2 days, Shoshana also, and Shavuos won't be 2 days, so then people are going to come to be mezalzel in the other Yom Tov which have 2 days, because people are going to say, look, this yontif doesn't have 2 days. It's haraya that the second day is not so important. It's only when there's a suffix. But Shavuos, where there's no suffix, you don't have 2 days. So therefore, Chachamim established it. All Yom Tov have 2 days. So you look at it, Bepashtus, you think that the second day of Shavuos has much less of a reason and a necessity, much less of a necessity than the second day of the other Yom Tovim. The second day of the other Yom Tovim originally were instituted because there was a serious issue, Sveika de Yaina. The second day of Shavuos is just as it's a secondary support, but there really never was a doubt when it get to the Kviyas of Shavuos. But the Rebbe in a few places in Lekut Sichos and in other the Rebbe in Fabrengens mentions that there's an interesting Chassam Sefer that says, no, that it's the other way around. It's the other way around. Shavuos, the second day of Yom Tov Shavuos, has more of a chumrah than all the other days of second day Yom Tov. The second day Yom Tov from the other Yom Tovim, which were based on a Sveika de Yaima. So Chacham L'Chatchila instituted it because of a suffix. So on one hand, there was a serious reason why they instituted it. But it was based on a suffix. When Chachamim decided to institute the second day of Shavuos, there was no suffix that was the basis of this second day. There was no suffix. They decided this was enough of a reason to make a second day. It was never based on a suffix. So even though the reason of is essentially much weaker of a reason, but it was never based on a doubt. Umemela, some Sefer says there's a big maila in the institution of the second day Yom Tov Shavuos over the other Yom Tovim. Interessante Sache. This is the word of some Sefer. The Rebbe uses this for a few things. You see sometimes that even though the reason for something is seems to be weak, but once Chachamim decided to use that reason, so then it gets a certain strength. Once they instituted it, Shavuos is a very strong thing. The second day, even more than other Yom Tovim. So the Rebbe used that sort of as an example for this idea of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Goliath. Even though Yom Tov Sheni Shel Goliath originally was instituted because of a suffix, but once Klal Yisrael is noyig, the second day of Yom Tov, so many deiris, it sort of becomes like established. It gets sort of a life of its own. It becomes an established thing that Yom Tov has 2 days in Chutz La'aretz. And the mail that Rebbe said it's mistaver, there's a svara loima that's going to stay even lost with love. More than that, the Rebbe didn't explain. I mean, because sof l'chayre, it's not the reason won't apply. But Kaneh, the Rebbe is showing you from this example of Shavous that even when you have something that's based on a weak reason, but it sort of takes on a life of its own. It's the same thing over here. It's once Chachamim instituted it, it remains forever. It remains loyal and vod. That's what the Rebbe said in the Fabrengen of Simchas Torah Tavshin Mem Tes. But on a later occasion, in Tavshin Nun Aleph, in Parshas Bereishis, the Rebbe said fakert. It was pretty clearly mashma from what the Rebbe was saying that la'asad lavai there'll be no yom tov sheni shel golas b'chlal. The Rebbe spoke then about Isra Chag, whatever. But the Nekuda, the Rebbe then said that la'asad lavai when there'll be mekadesh l'chaydish al pi ha're'iyah, and then everyone will know what the kiddush l'chaydish is. There won't be any yom tov sheni shel golas b'chlal. So one time the Rebbe said like this, and one time the Rebbe said like this. I'm not sure if it means that if the Rebbe on a later date in Tavshin and Aleph said that there won't be, or the Rebbe was saying a svara like this, a svara like that, and we'll see when Moshiach comes. Okay, that's been to the niggling part of this inyan. Then al pi Chassidus, the concept of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius. So in Lekutei Torah, the Alter Rebbe explains. There's a lot of different things that Chassidus says when they get to Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius, but Pashtus, the institution of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius, just like Al Pi Nigla, comes from a certain Chesarim, because we don't know when the Kviyas of the Yom Tov is, so therefore you have to make a second day. The Alter Rebbe, Al Pi Chassidus, says that Yom Tov is a day when there's a new Gilead in the world. Eretz Yisrael is a holy land and a holy place which is able to receive that tremendous Gilu in one day. In Chutz La'aretz, which is not a keli for that revelation, in order to receive that revelation, has to be spread over into 2 days, because Chutz La'aretz is not a keli for this new Gilu of Yom Tov. And the Alter Rebbe there in Lekutei Torah says that therefore the din is someone that's a ben Eretz Yisrael that goes to Chutz La'aretz, even if it's daitay lachzay, he also should keep 2 days in Chutz La'aretz, because b'poil he's in Chutz La'aretz, and it doesn't matter that he's a ben Eretz Yisrael, but while he's in Chutz La'aretz, the place does not allow for the Gilui of Yontif to be received in 1 day. It has to be over 2 days. That's the word that Alter Rebbe says in Lekutei Torah.
What about the other way? Somebody from Chutz La'aretz goes
It's a big machlekes between Abani and Nash. Big machlekes. L'chayre, it should be the same thing, right? According to this,
able to get the Gili
right.
in one shot.
Anachanami.
That's not the main.
Anachanami. I'm not so sure. I don't know. I don't even know what's mainstream about that, in one way or another. I just spoke to someone that wasn't Pesach, just not Pesach in Eretz Yisrael. He told me, asked the Lubavitcher Rav. He told me who, I forgot who right now. Somebody that Rav told him, "You're coming with your family, with your whatever. Keep 1 day. If you're coming yourself and your family's in Chutz La'aretz, you're coming with your family, you should keep 1 day." Kept 1 day, and then he had an issue. No, he didn't an issue. He heard the Parshas Achrei twice this year.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
It's worse the other way.
Right, if you skip a Parsha. Right. Kapanim, I'm just saying, according to the Alter Rebbe, you're right. Just like when you come to Chutz La'aretz, you should keep 2 days. When you go to Eretz Yisrael, you should keep 1 day. Yeah, exactly. Now, the Shaila is Benegeh to La'asad Lavai. What's the Shaila La'asad Lavai? Chayra, according to this Hezbollah of the Alter Rebbe, La'asad Lavai, there shouldn't be B'chalal any Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius. Why? Because it says in Medrash, and the Gemara also implies this idea, and we've had many shiurim on this subject once upon a time, that I see the Eretz Yisrael, Shatespashet B'chol HaRotza, is the revelation, and the Elokus of Eretz Yisrael will be extended into the entire world. So every place in the world will be a keli for the same Gilei Elokus that Eretz Yisrael has.
This year has made it. It's gone long enough. The reference of the shiur, good sign.
Yeah, so if that's the case, so how are we going to, how is there a svara, according to Chassidus at least, according to this Hezbollah, that there should be Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius? That's the Shaila. Okay, so the simple answer is l'chayre that the same Gemara that says that Asida Eretz Yisrael Shetespashet B'chol HaRatzos also says that Yerushalayim will be mispashet into the whole Eretz Yisrael, which means then that there still is a distinction between the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael and Chutz La'aretz. There still will be a distinction. B'chlal, everything will be elevated one level. Beis HaMikdash, the Kedusha of Beis HaMikdash will be mispashet in the whole Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim in the whole Eretz Yisrael. And Eretz Yisrael into the entire world. And again, when I said the shiurim about this subject, we spoke about this. This is not stam a ruchnis de ge'inyan. It means kepshutim mamish when you get to the halachas that apply to Eretz Yisrael, the halachas that apply to Yerushalayim, where they're when you get to eating kotchim, when you get to maisris, when you get to, it's a real din of espashtos of that it will be extended. So if that's the case, then yeshloimar that the Yom Tovim la'asad lave, everything will be nis'ala la'asad lave. Everything will be on a higher level la'asad lave. It'll be great. A Yom Chayil la'asad lave will be on a higher level. Omimela Shabbos will be on a higher level. Yontiv will be on a higher level. Everything will be on a higher level. Omimela, just like the Alter Rebbe says in Lekut Torah B'negei Tizman Hazeh, that Chutz La'aretz is not a keli for the Gili Oir, and Eretz Yisrael is a keli for the Gili Oir. La'asad lavai, Yontiv will be on a higher level. Chutz La'aretz will also be on a higher level, but Eretz Yisrael will be even higher. Eretz Yisrael will be like Yerushalayim. So still, Eretz Yisrael will have an advantage being on the level of Yerushalayim, that it will be able to contain that Gili in one day, and Chutz La'aretz will still maybe have to have 2 days, if you go according to that opinion.
Just because once it gets elevated to the level, it might be elevated enough that it gets. There's still a distinction in other places.
Right.
In this area,
As I said, Yeshleima, possibly.
Okay.
Possible svara to. I say you see that even in the Paiskim, even in Alpin Nigla, there's a shaila here whether Lasad Lavid will be Yontif Sheni. The Rebbe himself one time said like this and one time said like that. So Alpi Chassidus also, there's a few svaras over here. Do you say that because the whole world will be like Eretz Yisrael, so the whole world will be a keli for the Gili in one day? Or maybe no, maybe Lasad Lavid, the whole world will be elevated, but still, it won't be like Eretz Yisrael itself.